Kasey Kahne, $1 million winner tonight at Lowe's Motor Speedway, the All-Star race. It was a dog of a race, but Kasey won. He needed something. He hasn't won on the tour since 2006. He was quite relieved. He won going away. Beat Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth by more than a second, pulling away, even though Biffle had on fresher tires. Kahne opted for track position, and with his new car tomorrow, this wing car, track position is everything. In fact, the story of the race is not that Kasey won, and the story of the race is not the fact that Kyle Busch dominated, leading 38 of the first 50 laps until his engine blew up, but the fact that the race was 100 laps, 4 segments, $1 million to win, and it was a dog of a race. I'm sorry, it was a dog of a race. It was terrible. There were no incidents at all. Nobody knocking anybody around, nobody pushing anybody around, nobody even getting close to anybody. It shows me that NASCAR has some serious work to do to make this car tomorrow, this new wing car, work. They had a special test here 2 days, a couple of weeks ago, trying to sort things out. Jeff Gordon was never a factor. Jimmy Johnson was never a factor. Dale Earnhardt Jr., sort of a factor. The Childress cars, not even in the game. It was Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, Greg Biffle, and then Kasey Kahne. Strange race, if you ask me. Very strange race. And they'll be analyzing this for the next couple of days because we've got the 600 coming up. These guys have to figure out what's going to happen in the 600, how to make their cars work. And all I can see is that the new car cuts a big hole in the air, but these guys can't deal with the aerodynamic issues. They're not allowed by the rules, the new rules, to do anything with the front bumpers, to move the cars around. They're playing with trick rear end gears to go through the corners better. NASCAR's got some work to do. NASCAR's got to be looking at this race saying, if this much money's on the line, sprint races like this, and the race turns out to be as bad as it was, in terms of like just action, they've got to do something. They've got to do something. They can't wait till like the 1st of July. We've got some mid-sized tracks coming up. We've got the 600 coming up. And if I was looking at the 600 based on what I saw tonight, I'd say, hey, why bother? We got Michigan coming up. NASCAR needs to look at this car tomorrow and see what they can give the crews in terms of rules, breaks, changes to make them work. These cars just don't work. Track position is everything. If you're out front, like the drivers said tonight, Matt Kenseth, all the drivers said, track position is more important than anything. That's no kind of racing. That's not racing. That's not side-by-side stuff. That's the story tonight. The fact that car tomorrow put on a dog of a race. $1 million to win. $1 million to win. 4 25-lap sprints. Good format. Can't blame that. Good track. Can't blame that. The race was a dog. Kasey won. Good win for him. Needed that. George Gillette wasn't here. Ray Everham was here, and he was clearly relieved at the whole thing. His teams haven't performed very well this year. Dodge as a whole hasn't performed very well at all this year. Dodge needed a win like this. Toyota, Kyle Busch, JD Gibbs. I talked to JD before the race. No points, no consequences, $1 million to win, so they tried a new engine combination. Kyle led, going away, blew up. Denny Hamlin came on strong, blew up. Tony Stewart blew up in practice, so he changed his engine, probably went with something more conservative. Toyota may have a little more work to do to make this new engine package a little more reliable, but they didn't lose anything. Didn't lose any points. Kyle's still the points leader going into the 600, and they've got some ideas now under the hood to play with. But the race itself should have been much more exciting than that. Should have been very exciting. I mean, nice huge crowd, traffic jam for miles after the race, people trying to go home. Good publicity. I mean, they did the thing downtown. They did the street fair and all this sort of stuff. I mean, it was well promoted. But the race itself, a 0. NASCAR's going to have to think about that. They have to listen to these drivers and listen to these crew chiefs and come up with a solution. And so far, they've had their head in the sand. We were worried before the race about the rear ends. Teams are trying new rear end packages, cambering the rear ends to make them bend so that they can get to the corners better. And if you bend them too much, they might break. Didn't see any of that tonight. Guys were very conservative on their setups. In fact, Greg Biffle was so bad the first segment that he went wild on his setup for the second segment and picked up speed. The car was loose. Fast but loose. Kasey Kahne, nice steady guy, long distance runner. That should be key for the 600. He wasn't good on short runs, good on long runs. Everybody else was looking at short runs. Probably figuring out a lot of cautions. They didn't get a lot of cautions. They didn't get any cautions. And yet you look at the showdown, the first race, it was a pretty good race. A lot of dicing going on. AJ and Sam Hornish really put on a good show. I thought the best show of the night. And I'm not really sure why they were battling so hard. The top two went into the all-star race, and they were battling each other, and they were the top two guys in the field. I was worried about them taking each other out. I didn't think they were showing a lot of smarts upstairs, and I don't think their crews were showing, their crew chiefs were showing a lot of smarts in how they were coaching those two guys. I know AJ really wanted to win a race. Sam really wanted to win a race. They've had a lot of bad luck. But hey, the big race, make the big race, and then make your play. AJ won the shootout, the preliminary race. Didn't do much in the all-star race. Kasey Kahne finished a distant fifth in the first race to make it in. The fans voted him in. He started dead last, 24th in the 24-car field. Slipped up to the field, played it very smart. Kasey's a smart guy. Not too much for enthusiasm, but he's a smart guy. Played everything right, won the race. $1 million. But the story of the race, Kyle Busch with the new engine package. Don't know how that's going to work out. Blowed up. That's the way it goes in racing sometimes. And the race itself, not a very good race. People need to sit down, look at the car tomorrow, and make some adjustments. Whether they will or not, I don't know. But if they were looking at the same race I saw tonight, they'll make some changes. How quickly? I'd say by the time they get to Michigan, we'll see something new. Mike Mulhern for the Winston-Salem Journal and JournalNow.com. Lowe's Motor Speedway, Kasey Kahne beating Greg Biffle. Kyle Busch needs to tune that engine a little bit better.